My name is Emory. Thank you for joining me. I'm gonna try and make this video really quick. I have a comparison between the Kuiu 2200 Ultra or Ultra 2200 and the Exo Mountain Gear 2000 Daypack. They're both Daypacks. I just got the 2200 in. I've had the Exo for a couple of years now. But first things first, I'm doing this comparison because these are two very popular options, I would imagine, for this size of backpack. And not a lot of people have, or they're kind of doing this toss-up between, well, should I do this, should I do that? So let's see, where do we start? How do I do a disclaimer? This is all personal opinion. Now, everyone backpacks differently, everyone has different needs, everyone organizes things differently than the next guy does. So myself, I'm gonna do something differently than you, and you know, on down the line. Now, one thing to keep in mind, I think it's really important. I'm gonna have opinions about both of these bags, and I think it's very, very important to realize that I'm using the backpack of someone that designed a backpack for their purpose. The way they designed it, that's how they go backpacking, and that may not align with the way I backpack. Even if I don't like something, it doesn't mean that it's bad, but it just doesn't mean that it aligns with the way I organize my gear, and so on and so forth. So I chose both these bags because they're the same size. You can see they're very, very similar in height. This one is 2200 cubic inches, this is 2000 cubic inches. I pulled them off the frames so you can see both of the bags without, take the frames out of it, we're literally just talking about the bags. So I wanted to go through it real quick, but first of all, here is the comparison up close so you can kind of see. I'll just do a quick rotation here. So it may not be apples to apples, but it's pretty darn close. They're in the same category of lightweight. Specs, you guys can spec it out, all that. You can have fun researching that stuff. I'm literally just gonna go over the function of it. So let's start with the most simple bag. We're gonna talk about this guy. I checked with the guys at Exo Mountain Gear. This is from 2016, I believe. So you might say, oh, there's probably updates. It's 2018 when this video is going to come out, July-ish of 2018. I checked with the guys at Exo Mountain Gear, and they assured me that nothing has changed significantly to the bag. So let's just go over the features real fast of what is in this bag and how it functions. First of all, the main difference, this is a roll top bag. I'll show you that in a second. It's got a horseshoe zipper that goes around the outside. It's got these lashings, yada yada. It's got two side pockets, side stretch pockets for stash pockets, depending on what you run in there. It's got those on both sides that fit a water bottle, like an Nalgene and that type of a deal. On the top, it's got a zipper, so a little stash pocket that goes in here. And as I turn it around, it's got this long zip pocket. This is a stretch mesh pocket, so it bulges out as you stuff it. It comes out, and you can get a lot of stuff in there. That's really great. This horseshoe zipper is really cool. On the inside of the zipper, you have a stash pocket. There's just one of them, and I've actually found that comes in pretty handy. I don't put a ton of stuff in there, but since it is a day pack, it's kind of nice to have some things that are kind of loose in your bag tossed in here. Other than that, that is basically the bag. This version did come with a water bladder that I wasn't a huge fan of. I ended up, water bladder holder that I ended up cutting out. But I think it has, I think it's got a hanger of sorts in here. I don't use water bladders, so I just ended up cutting it out. Oh, it doesn't have a hanger, it was a pocket, that's right. So this is a roll top bag, and it's gonna be completely different than this guy right here. And here's why. This is 2000 cubic inches, but this is why I love roll top bags. As you unroll it, it gets bigger. So the main bag here is down here, right? But then you have all this extra space. So to get into the bag, you literally just open it up and you're stuffing things, right? I love roll tops. The great part is that it gives you a little bit of forgiveness. And by that, I mean, this is what it's like folded over, but then you have all this fabric, right? So you can just roll this thing over one time or two times, and you got all that space, extra space. So 2,000 cubic inches plus, I don't believe they're counting the, man, I don't know, like 500 cubic inches that probably goes into the, you can kind of get out of the lid. Also, speaking of lids, their lid for the 3500 and the 5500, I believe it can fit onto this guy. I have a lid, so now you go from, this is a 2,000 cubic inch bag that's all nice and rolled up. You toss a lid on there. Maybe you get a little extra space out of here. You have the stretch pocket that doesn't, I don't believe accounts for any additional space. The 2,000 cubic inches is just in the body. And now, so you have this stretch pocket, you have these stretch pockets, you have this space up here, and you toss that lid on there, and you can probably get, you know, 3,000 cubic inches out of this thing pretty easily, and that is a lot of space. That's a perfect 1 to 3 night bag. I've actually backpacked to this for a couple nights, and it's been really, really great. So let's compare that to what Kuiu just came out with this year, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on it. So I'm gonna put this down for a second. If you're familiar with Kuiu, they're a brand out of Dixon, California. They make really nice stuff. It's sewn very, very well. This is the Ultra. And the reason why I was interested in this, and I mentioned this in a previous video during the unboxing and the first look at it, was they added a pocket. They now have both side stretch pockets, both here, and they kind of did some more durability stuff. So there's a little bit here, and they added some features to it. Now, this is the Ultra. You can see it's an Ultra bag. So they have their main line and they have their Ultra, and these are supposed to be lighter. But the thing is they added some features that would add weight to it that makes it look a lot more like the Pro line. Let's go over the bag. So you have a main compartment. It's accessed by a horseshoe zipper. So this thing comes all the way and then it folds, right? That kind of deal. And this thing comes all the way down. So this is a pretty big pocket, right? It folds way open. I mean, more than halfway down the bag, it comes open. Inside of this flap are 2 stash pockets. So I'm gonna show them to you. There's one here. It goes all the way down to the bottom of the bag. And then you have, so this entire length, this entire front length of the bag, there are zippered stash pockets. So I will zip this up. Okay, the next pocket is up top. You can kind of see that guy. This pocket is pretty bare bones. There's a keychain in here. I don't understand why people put keychains in bags, but cool. Pretty big pocket. You can stash a lot in there. On the top, it's got this back zipper, so where a stretch pocket would be on the Exo Gear bag, you have this guy. And apparently this is for spotting scopes. This is what hunters use, mountain hunters use for spotting scopes. I don't run a spotting scope. I do like these back pockets, but I will get to my thoughts on that in a second. And that is it. That is pretty bare bones. You have, again, a horseshoe zipper that goes around, this pocket, this top pocket, and then you have these stash pockets in the middle. And then you have side stretch pockets. Also new, there is a water bladder hose port right here. This is a zipper with a little tab on it that you can access your water bladder if you run a water bladder. And on the inside, there is a water bladder sleeve that's integrated into the bag. So that's the comparison between the two bags. And you're probably saying, well, Emory, you have had your hands on both of these bags. Which do you prefer and why? So let's go over that. Let's see, what do I want to go over first? I'm just gonna come out and tell you that I have the 1800 in a Daypack for the Kuiu, and it's a Kuiu Pro 1850. And I thought that I would really like this size of pack. I thought that I would like the additional features. However, after getting the pack, packing it like I would go backpacking for 1 to 3 nights, I thought that I could fit everything in here. But caveat, this is not made for a 1 to 3 day bag. However, this is 2,000 cubic inches, 2,200 cubic inches. And if you compare that to 2,000 cubic inches over here, the way it's designed, if you want to stretch it out to 1 to 3 days, the Kuiu bag, it's probably not going to happen unless you are very, very tight on gear, very minimalist, and it's very, very early in the summer or in the season. The reason being is the way it's designed. Let me show you what I mean by the Exo bag being not limiting and the Kuiu bag being limiting. This bag is 2,000 cubic inches. But because this is stretchy, this stretches out and this extends up. So you have more space up top, you can get more space up top, and you can get more space this way. The Kuiu bag, the way it's designed, this horseshoe zipper design is it's limiting to say the least. If you end up stuffing this bag full, you can only get so much stuff in it, right? So it's 2,200 cubic inches, that's it. There's nothing else more that you can get in there. Whereas this guy, it can go up a little bit more. So we've all been there, we've all packed too much stuff, or we all want to bring an extra thing. And if you've ever tried to pack a suitcase that is overflowing and you're trying to zip those zippers, that's what's gonna end up happening with this guy. Additionally, this back pocket right here, this is again zippered, and the fabric is fixed. It does not stretch. It's not four-way stretch. It is the same fabric as the rest of the bag. That means that when you go to stuff items in here, it doesn't give. So I'm stuffing an item in here besides the spotting scope. Let's say I want to toss a jacket or a bunch of stuff in here, right? Layers, a tent, whatever it might be. Sometimes I like to put a tent inside pockets like this. You gotta stuff it, and then you gotta get this zipper all the way up, right? But because this fabric doesn't stretch, it is what it is. So what happens is you got that thing in that pocket. Well now, because it doesn't stretch out, it pushes in. So it kind of ends up being this like center kind of, it just holds in the center, right? All these things. So now you have things pushing in instead of out. And then on the inside, you have these new pockets. Well, okay, so the problem with these guys is that as you're stuffing things in here, now they bulge into the inside of the pack, which is fine. If you like to organize your things like that. So you load this up, you load this up, and then when you start putting stuff inside the pack, now you're cramped on space, because if you end up loading this inner pocket, you are essentially taking up space that is inside this pack. So the 2,200 cubic inch pack includes this stretch pocket because it's stretching in. Well, I'm not so sure I'm a big fan of that. Now, I did watch a video of Jason from Kuiu introducing this bag, and he said that the reason why they added these pockets on the inside of the Ultra line is because he found that because he didn't have these pockets, he was bringing organizational baggies that added up to the weight of the pocket, if that makes any sense. Okay, cool. That totally makes sense. Only in one case. You have to put loose items in this pack. You have to put them loose in this pocket and the pocket below it for that to make sense. If you open this pocket and you take your organizational baggie and you toss it in there like a kill kit or a first aid kit, and you toss it in here, you've just now doubled up the weight because you have the weight of the bag and the pocket. So if you want to sign off on that and say, I'm going to save weight by removing the baggie and just using this, awesome. My only argument to that is you have all this filled, right? The whole entire lid, and you go to open your bag and then you're great and you're packing, now you're packing up your camp. This falls open, which is really awesome because it's really easy access. You're pulling stuff out. Well, so what ends up happening is now you're stuffing things, and when you're trying to load your pack back up, now you have this zipper to contend with and this zipper to contend with, and meanwhile this whole entire thing is loaded, so the weight of it's pulling this way and it's pushing items in, and you're having to, as you stuff things into your bag, you're having to go with the zipper, and that's fine. But as you're compressing things down, now you toss another layer in there, and that's great. But if you were to run out of room, if you were to pack this thing up and run out of room, you only have the room that's allowed by the zippers. Whereas, if that same thing happens here on the Exo bag, say I'm stuffing, and I'm like, oh no, I'm kind of running out of room. What do I do? Well, you just don't roll down the collar as much. So instead of maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 rolls, you go up a couple, and you have all that extra room. So the bag is more flexible. That's the key of the roll top. It allows you a little more space, a little bit of forgiveness, whereas zipper bags don't have forgiveness when you are packing your things. So you might say, Emory, well, why? I thought you were like an ultralight guy and all that kind of business, right? Well, yes and no. I'm ultralight when it needs to be ultralight, but this, like I said earlier, I mentioned that this can expand. This 2,000 cubic inch bag expands to 25, whereas this 2,200 cubic inch pack stays at 22. That's it. It just stays at 22. This one's expandable. And whatever room you have in this pocket is the room you have in that pocket. However, this pocket, because it's stretchy and it bulges out, you can stuff all kinds of stuff in there. Layers, I've had a tent in there. The stretchy fabric moving out is more forgiving and allows you to do it. Well, and how you access that is by this one zipper. So you stuff it in and it's good to go. So I mentioned there's a horseshoe zipper, and you're probably thinking, well, Emory, the Exo bag has a horseshoe zipper as well. What the heck are you talking about? You said you don't really like this horseshoe zipper, but you're cool with this one. Well, yeah, because you actually don't have to use the horseshoe zipper on the Exo bag. And here's why. There's two ways to access this bag. That is by the horseshoe zipper, right, on the outside. But if you're packing your bag in the morning, you don't have to use it. You just stuff all your things in here, roll it up, and call it a day. This horseshoe zipper then becomes your daily access zipper. So let's say your stove. My stove often goes in the middle of my pack. My food is on top of that, whatever. So let's say I'm hunting, because this is a hunting related pack. I'm hunting and I want to get to my stove and maybe some snacks or whatever it might be, or a warming layer, whatever, right? You just unzip the bag, lay it down, you can unzip it, and you can access all of your things where this is still rolled up. Nothing's falling out. When you're done, you unzip it, or you can just do a side. You can have these zippers positioned wherever you want. Maybe you just want to open the side, or maybe you want to do the whole thing. It's up to you. The main point here is that in terms of accessing the bag, what can fit in it? Just in the way that they were designed, the Exo Mountain Gear bag is far more flexible than the Kuiu bag. I'm not saying that the Kuiu bag is bad. I'm just saying that it's fixed. It's a fixed amount. This guy, it's said it's 2,000 cubic inches, but it's not. It's more than that, and that's because of the roll top. So, what do I do with this guy, and why is it around? Well, they said that they made this 2,200 cubic inch pack because they found that the 1850 was a little small and the 3000 was a little big. And I would agree with that. That's why I wanted it. I thought I could get 1 to 3 days out of it. But because of the way it's designed, it's just 2,200 cubic inches. And I thought that I'd be able to pack all my stuff in there. I tried it. I would have to give up a lot of things in order for that to work for me. So now my decision is I have this pack, I have this pack, an 1850, I have different options. Do I want to just use an 1850 for a nice day pack and then use this guy when I want to go overnight with a smaller backpack? Or what do I do? So that's my decision to make. One more thing. When we're talking about attaching to the bag, I found that the Exo way is very, very simple. You have these two bottom straps. They lash to the bottom of your frame, and then this lip goes up over the top of the frame. This guy, somewhat similar, very similar. However, I found that when I'm swapping bags around, the Kuiu method is a little more cumbersome. It's not very easy, and because I have an older frame, and an older, by older I mean like a year and a half, they've swapped out the hardware on these buckles. It used to be this like really weird ultralight clip, but they've swapped it out for standard clips, right? Well, I found out that when I tried to attach it to my frame, that I need an adapter kit. In order to attach it to my frame, they would account for these new clips. The whole point of these bags is to swap. I have one frame and multiple bags, right? That would mean that I have one of two options. I get this adapter kit, and anytime I swap my bag, I have to use the adapter kit back and forth, right? I have to save that hardware. I could possibly lose that hardware that I'm not using, if that makes any sense. Or I just get rid of the bag, or I put this on a frame and I don't use the 1850, but I've found that I'm not a huge fan of swapping bags back and forth on frames. I thought it was really cool. I think it's a cool concept, but when you're actually doing it, what ends up happening is I put this bag on, I'm like, cool, and then I see the normal bag of my 1850, and I'm like, well, it's just sitting there. What's it gonna do there? And it can't be used because it's just not gonna be used in that manner. It can't be helpful. I'd have to get out of the frame. So I don't know where I land on the whole swapping of bags. I just know that I kind of like to just grab a bag and go. And I don't know if that was helpful. I hope this was really helpful. I might have been all over the map on it. I'm not really sure. I just thought it was really important for people to see the difference between these two bags and what I meant by, in a previous video, of why a roll top is, in my opinion, so much better. If Kuiu were to go to roll tops, I think they would do themselves a huge favor. Get away from the zipper. They're single points of failure. Teeth can break. They can get stretched, especially if you're stretching those zippers a lot. And I know it's really well built, and I appreciate that. However, for my purposes and how I backpack, again, the disclaimer is Jason and Sean at Kuiu, or whoever designed this bag, they have a specific way of backpacking. These pockets were intended for certain things. How I backpack may not be the same as theirs, and it may not be the same as yours. It just so happens the way Steve and those guys at Exo Mountain Gear backpack, we have very similar thoughts. How we backpack, how we structure our gear, how we organize our gear. That's why I found myself more attracted to the Exo Mountain Gear bag than the Kuiu bag. The only complaint that I have on this bag is the size of these side stretch pockets. They're very, very shallow. If I had my choice, I would probably have them come up maybe halfway up the bag, at least 4 more inches. The reason being, I run smart water bottles, and I found that during the season, they fall out of this small bag. But again, Steve and those guys may be using those side pockets for something else and not water bottles. So totally understandable. That's another example of 2 different styles, me using the bag differently than what they intended. That said, my wish would be the stretch pocket to come up here. All right, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this comparison between the Exo Mountain Gear 2000 and the new Kuiu Ultra 2200. If you enjoyed this, let me know. Leave some comments down here somewhere. Let me know what you think. If you have varying opinions, let me know how you backpack. Sorry about that. My video cut out while I was recording, and I'll cut off the last little bit. I just wanted to say, if you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below. If you have any tips or ideas on how I'm using my bags, I'd love to hear about it. We're all doing something different. We're all here to learn. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you. I'm always willing to learn. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.